Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Tuesday, November 15th, 2022 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi, and our energy mantra for today is I listen to the messages surfacing from the deep. And today we have a few things going on. We have Venus preparing to shift into Sagittarius. So we're going to have Venus at those final degrees today, final degrees of Scorpio, which is a little interesting. We also have the last of our Mars yod happening as the sun today yods Mars. We have the sun and Pluto feeding into Mars in Gemini. And after this, it's going to kind of fade out because Mars retrograde has moved far enough away from Pluto's influence that it will not be yachting anymore. So with this final day of Mars yod, especially with the sun is an illuminator, and so the sun can illuminate any patterns that we need to be aware of. And again, I will mention this energy is so potent for transformation. So to bring your attention, like, what pattern am I seeing in my life playing over and over and over, and just making small adjustments can really bring shift. You are so supported in that shift right now. So just keep that in mind as we move through this day. And even though these energies can feel challenging, part of Scorpio is, and even Pluto, is recognizing your empowerment. Empower yourself to make small shifts, even if you're not entirely sure. What kind of small shift into love or into abundance or into trust or into even your own power can you make in this energy? And I think that you will see shifts come about for this. Now, you may not see it yet. I think that's part of this retrograde. The shift is ongoing, right? But when Mars goes direct, come January, I do think a lot of things that have kind of been in like holding patterns will start falling into place. I had an image of like dominoes all kind of falling into place as I said that. So let's dig into this Venus energy today. So let me just say one more thing actually. Sun inconjunct Mars. Mars retrograde is already slowing down some of our energy for moving forward. With the sun in an inconjunct, it can feel a little bit like a traffic jam. So you may feel like that urge to move, but not exactly know how to or be able to at this time. And that's okay too. Even just mentally noticing, and especially with these patterns, will support. So just keep that in mind. Like the energy today may be a little bit wonk. So Venus today finishing up in Scorpio. Venus will trine Jupiter expanding these energies. When I was sitting here feeling through Venus and Scorpio, the final degrees, I was like, it's a little bit passionate, a little bit paranoid, a little bit possessive. So Jupiter will be expanding all of those energies. And keep in mind with Venus and Scorpio connecting to Jupiter retrograde in Pisces, there could be old relationship energies that need some closure, some release coming up in and through that connection. Venus at 29, though, like I said, increased passion, increased paranoia in relationships, and that possessiveness energy. We got a woohoo from the other room. It's good that he's looking forward to that, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, in this energy, I think beyond those energies that could come up in relationship, also knowing the magic and the power of your personal yin is so potent. And to take it back to this Mars transit, because Venus and Mars are always like in some kind of dance with each other. To take it back to that Mars transit, maybe the small shift that needs to be made is empowering your yin to listen to your intuition, or to honor your personal talents, your personal magic. And so in that, you may feel your magic kind of lit up again, especially as Jupiter is connecting as well. And if that's the case for you today, play in your magic, like bring it through. I'm thinking about yesterday's cards, the Three of Cups. I get by with a little help from my friends. Today might be a good day for playing magical with yourself. I know that sounds weird, but like, I think there's a question, like, what would happen if you turned your magic like fully on, right? That's this energy with Venus at 29 degrees Scorpio. This also could be a call for boundaries in relationships, and this might be boundaries with yourself as well. So just be aware of that as well. Besides that, we've got the moon in Leo squaring Uranus and opposite Saturn. So inner child stuff, I do have an inner child card. I have the inner child card, and I also have the conditioning card. So especially as we're working with both Uranus and Saturn, we may feel some of that conditioning, some of those shoulds around our child. That might be one of the patterns where we made ourselves small as the child, and we're being called into our magic, but our pattern is playing small. So be aware of your little self, and how that little self has so much bigness to offer to the world, to yourself, and to magic in general, right? So that moon opposite Saturn is going to be in the evening, and that definitely could feel a little oppressive. However, you have breakthrough. So again, feel these things and see, where are you being called to break through the patterns? I have the intensity card, once again, moving into the light. There is so much movement potential in these energies. I have to also say, and these two cards may be specific to people, the completion card. How I mentioned there may be some old relationships coming up for closure and release in this. I'm getting that with the completion card. And I also have the Hermit card. While I suggested being together with friends, there may be some of you who need to be with your friends on the other side. That sounds weird, right? With your spirit guides and your angels and your esoteric supporters. And connecting into your own personal light. So especially if you are somebody who's needing to really double down on those boundaries, you may find that time alone today very beneficial. A little time to be very intimate with yourself and your shifts and your magic. So keep that in mind, that it might be, feels very specific to not just one person, a few people, that Hermit card. So I'm going to leave that here for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and honor your boundaries. Ooh, and your values. I guess we're honoring boundaries and values today. Namaste.